Terran players actually made it, were invited because the Terran players didn't do so hot in fall, and it was up to these players to try and qualify. Spawning in the top left-hand side here is our Protoss player representing, I don't even know who PattyMac represents. Is he even on the team anymore? No, he's not. That's what I thought. PattyMac teamless right now. It is PattyMac. I've ruined it. That was a terrible introduction, Steadfast. Terrible. I can't believe I do this professionally. Just atrocious.
Oh, I can. You're pretty damn good at it, and yeah, I think you know that.
Oh, man.
You've got the swagger.
I can't even introduce a player anymore. I'm losing my time. I'm like Cyril. I'm just washed up. I was good a long time ago, and now, you know, just terrible.
Nice history.
The ancient part is definitely true in the StarCraft world. Being 31 years old, I feel like I'm a freaking grandpa. It's insane. At least I don't play, so I don't have like I don't have to use the excuse of being old for sucking at the game. At least I can just be like, oh, I'm old, I forget things when I cast. It's a very weird place to be. Reaper expand here for Epic. No surprises there. Interestingly, of course, we saw in our last series, our Terran player Future was going for that Marine expand most games, I think. I don't think he made a Reaper in either game, which is becoming a little more common in TVPs here. The Reaper's getting just harder and harder to sneak those Reapers into the main bases, harder and harder to get probe kills with them, so more Terran players are getting that Marine out for just a little bit more usable damage defense early in the game, but still Reaper expand, perfectly acceptable, and he's got a factory going down already, so I think we are in good shape as we look to the mid-game and see what PattyMac is going to do tech-wise with that Tier 2 tech building. What do you feel in this game, Steadfast?
Well, knowing PattyMac as a player a little bit, my money is on Twilight, but honestly, I don't know a ton about his TVP. Nice zoning grenade right there. Wow, and he's going to be able to escape on out of here. Reaper was pretty low on HP. That was a really big tour of the base he was able to get. And surviving with all that information, really, really nice for Epic.
Yeah, you always want to keep that Reaper alive. So valuable. It's not quite like an Oracle for a Protoss player where, you know, you gotta keep it alive at any cost. Get it out of there even if it doesn't do any damage. You can lose the Reaper, but yeah, keeping it alive, so valuable. Back on Epic side of the map, though, take a look at this. We've already got one Widow Mine in production with that starport behind it. We're going to see some Widow Mine drops here. No armory yet. No tech lab on the factory, so it doesn't look like Cloak. It doesn't look like Drilling Claws. But still, Widow Mine damage can be pretty good. Is he going to stop at one Widow Mine? Surely he's got to make another. It's so rare to see a one Widow Mine drop these days.
Well,
what's he doing with the tech lab?
I would expect this would be a drop, but this is kind of okay, yeah.
Weird.
No, this is just a defensive anti-Oracle play. And got it in a nice little cute position right here on the extractor, or sorry, refinery. You can tell I play Zerg.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not going to be running into that. But you know, it's always nice to set up for that kind of thing. Cover all your bases when you don't have that information. But well, he's going to be going Cloaked Banshee behind all this, and PattyMac's relatively quick robotics facility and observer, coupled with that blink, this is looking pretty nice for PattyMac so far.
Yeah, it really is here. Going to be a good defense. I think. The third base has been spotted, of course. Nice spot there by Epic, and the Reaper will get in. Should be killed off. There it is. Not getting any more damage, but as we said earlier, Epic pretty much knows what he's up against right now. Yeah, I'm a little curious that he's letting this Cloaked Banshee go and letting the Cloak finish. Already a Robo down here. Observer should be on the way out, I think, as soon as the supply block breaks, and there it is. And yeah, with the nice snipe on that first Observer, but a second Observer still going to be really nice. To save PattyMac's bacon here. I really just don't know what on earth these Banshees think they're going to do with a Robo already out and Blink Stalkers on the field.
Well, the one thing I will say is that they have gone unscouted by PattyMac, and that means that there's no shield batteries in the mineral line. So just a single Banshee, if the units are out of position, which it looks like they are very out of position, this could be really good. Now, I would love to see Epic, if he can respond quickly enough, or even, you know, just does it anyways, cloak up the Banshee before he even gets in.
Right.
If he does that, he can bypass this pylon, bypass the vision, and there's no chance for PattyMac to get it back into position.
Yeah, interesting spot here. Oh, man. waiting for that second Banshee, but there's a little move out happening on the other side of the map. I do wonder if Epic's just going to try and draw the army of PattyMac out like he's freaking Aragorn outside the Black Gate of Mordor here. Draw the army out outside of the maybe the natural, but no, that's not what he's going to do. It looks like he's just going to marry up these Banshees with the main army and try and go for a big hammerhead hit on the third base. Okay, there it is. Cloak Banshee's going into the main, army going into the third. He still will try and draw this back, but PattyMac actually has some counter damage. Those Stalkers going to get driven away at the natural of Epic by the bunker. Not enough Stalkers. Gonna force the recall as the big army starts to hit at the third base here. Whoa, bunkers? Hello.
Yeah, this is, he brings 3 SCVs along with this push, and this is actually really frightening to deal with for PattyMac. He is going to be able to theoretically deal with this frontal push, but he's already losing 9, 10, 11 probes. And, well, this is very, very unexpected. Oh, man, the target fire on a gateway.
Oops.
Ugh.
Yeah, this is going to be tough to hold here. Obviously, PattyMac does have the army value to hold, and PattyMac's army actually more valuable than Epic's army. Of course, Epic does have a lot of the army supply tied up in those Banshees, but the first bunker gets down here. The SCV can repair, and that Colossus does not yet have that ETL upgrade. Extended Thermal Lance not able to get massive shots off on the bio. If this Nexus goes down, which it will, this is going to be a win for Epic, even if he gets cleaned up here, which I believe, again, he probably should get cleaned up here. Still, I think a win for our Terran player, who's now up 55 workers to 49, and has that third base morphing into orbital command in his main.
Yeah, that was so good from Epic. Really smart decision to choose to target fire down that Nexus right there with those tanks. Ooh, looks like he is going to be able to get back into the main base here. Now, Blink should come back off cooldown very shortly, but he's still going to be able to find 2, 3, maybe... Oof. Nope, just 2 more probes.
Man, that's still, if we pull up that units lost tab, we can see 21 probes going down. One of my favorite numbers in elementary school, because it was divisible by 7 and 3, my 2 other favorite numbers. I know it's dumb, but I was a dumb kid, and I still am a dumb kid now. 21 going down for PattyMac, and that's huge. Epic, of course, has not lost much behind this, and it's funny, just like our last TVP Steadfast, we're going to see the Protoss player paralyzed, unable to move out, unable to pressure Epic at all, and that means that Epic can play the game he wants to play, get the third base down at a good time, go for another timing push here, work on the +1/+1. It's not quite as crisp as we saw from Future earlier, that earlier attack with no upgrades, but it still should be a pretty nice position for Epic to be in. Of course, there's no response yet for these Colossi, and that's going to be the biggest problem right now, is that the Viking count is at 0.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit tricky, but with the tank count as high as it is, already up to 4 tanks and continuing to build more, they can deal with Colossus pretty well, and especially on a map like this where, you know, there's kind of tight positions. We saw Future take advantage of the tank position right here, sieging the natural. In addition, you can put tanks here if these minerals are not completely mined out. Even tanks, you know, there's a lot of decent tank positions on this map.
Very wise, as you just pointed out, if those minerals aren't mined out. Very wise of PattyMac to pull 2 of those mineral patches out so he can jump on top of tanks with charge lots if he needs to. Of course, he'd have to have charge for that, but I'm sure he'll get that eventually. +1 armor now on the way as PattyMac spinning 1 forge, but 1-1 going to finish up for Epic here, and Epic's going to have the upgrade advantage as he does have 2 NG bays going. That armory already finished up, so he should be... Armory finished up? Oh, no, sorry, no armory yet. Ooh, a little bit behind that on the 2-2. I made a bad assumption there. I figured a player like Epic would already have that armory down, going instead for the Ghost Academy rush, which I think is probably acceptable. Having EMPs versus having 2-2 out 45, 50 seconds earlier, a bit of a wash if you ask me. Both could be really nice, but EMPs going to be so valuable with this large gateway army from his opponent.
Speaking of valuable, we have a very, very nice spot right there with that scan to seize the disruptor. And that is a really, really important bit of information because it's going to allow him to, one, he's always going to be able to scan ahead with his army. But now that was when he threw down the armory. That was when he realized, like, yes, I need to play this one out a little bit more long term. Ooh, oh my goodness. Big disruptor shot. 5 kills on that bad boy.
Yeah, a little bit late on the stim there. We saw Epic stim just at the last minute there. A little bit too late. I think he didn't want to stim his whole army because he needs tons of HP to go up against these Blink Stalkers and the Zealots, which still, by the way, do not have charge. In fact, not a lot of Zealots in this composition at all. So, just worried mostly about the Archon.
No! Oh, God! He fired the disruptor as a part of the whole hotkey.
You know, it's funny. You don't expect to see that in a pro game. It wasn't even on my radar that could potentially happen. But that's a huge loss for PattyMac, who's down 72 army supply now. This was a scary push from Epic, and now this is a scarier push from Epic. He's going to set up in that beautiful position. The mineral patches there blocking off the tanks a little bit, and with a good tank spread, it's not going to be easy for an Archon to get on top of all these. One disruptor shot won't hit all the tanks. He clears the front tank, but that's it. GG. Epic finds a really nice timing. Oh, Steadfast. You just don't expect to see that happen in a pro game. A disruptor hit on your own army for no reason at all. Oof.
That was an oof moment if ever there was one. That was painful to look at.
Yeah.
Oh, man. PattyMac definitely feeling the pressure in this game, number one. And, well, he actually had a decent result yesterday. He was able to 2-1 TLO in yesterday's match. So, you know, he wasn't in a terrible position, but, I mean, that was a pretty convincing game from Epic, to say the least.
It really was, and obviously Epic is going to be, I think, a pretty moderate favorite here. I don't know about strong or weak, but a favorite all the same. I kind of, my 2-1 for PattyMac was more just to contradict whatever you were saying, Steadfast. That way at least one of us wins. But yeah, I think PattyMac has an uphill struggle. We just saw a lack of army control, not just in the disruptor hit, which is, you know, the sort of the most explosive example, but all over the map right there. PattyMac had some troubles getting his army into the right position, finding those spaces where the Colossi could shoot down, and not allowing Epic to get into choke points, which Epic did such a good job of. So with map awareness and positioning in favor of Epic, he's able to take that game. And let me tell you, when you're on Marine Tank, map positioning and map awareness is about all you need to win those games. It's so strong with those tanks in the right spot.
It really is, and you mentioned that PattyMac mined out one or two of those mineral patches, but unfortunately not mining out all of them meant that, one, he kind of got pinned with his army a little bit against them as he was retreating, and then two, when Epic got forward towards them, he had himself a fantastic position. So a lot of T's not being crossed and I's not being dotted in that game from PattyMac, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a great summation of what happened. Love it. Let's hop on to game number 2 here on Lightshade LE. Our first player in the bottom right-hand side in the blue. Currently one game away from dropping this Series 02. His name is PattyMac.
And his opponent spawning up in the top left, looking super sharp, going for a gas first here. It is the red Terran player, Epic, representing Psystorm Gaming.
Such a strong organization. Psystorm has been around since, the beginning of time. Always has some good players on board. Good to see Epic hooking up with a good organization. Now, Steadfast, I know you're primarily a Zerg player, but obviously we have you on the cast because you're knowledgeable about all three races. PattyMac really struggled in the last game to get anything going. Was it a case again where he was just so far behind that he couldn't really come back? Or do you think there were some real opportunities for PattyMac to get some damage done that game, and just where he failed to do so?
That's a good question. The build order was decent, but Epic went for a build where it gives you an opportunity for one to outplay your opponent, and it gives nice surround right there from PattyMac. Does get that SCV, and the engineering bay already got a lot of HP, so that's a little bit painful. It's going to take a while to clear that still. But I would say the beauty of Cloak Banshee in PvT is it gives the Protoss player a lot of potential to mess up. And Epic set up scenario after scenario where PattyMac was just out of position, where he was struggling to deal with it. Oh man, last second cancel. Very nice from Epic.
Yeah, very good. Sorry if my mic sounds a little different. I'm going to stand for just a minute here. I've been sitting for something like 6 hours straight. I've been trying to get up and walk around a little bit. I'm sure you have as well, Steadfast, but man, when you're casting. Also, my chair at my office doesn't breathe very well, so my whole backside, my jeans are feeling real uncomfortable just after 6 hours of sitting. I'm done with this gamer sweat nonsense. This is terrible. Factory down for Patty. Sorry if that's too much. It's been a long day. This casting is hugely difficult on your physique. I mean, I'm practically a football player, Steadfast, with as hard as this hobby is on my body. You know how it is. Anyway, factory down. The swap over for the Hellions. Think we see another proxy starport here from Epic or another drop?
I think we might just see an attempt to kind of run by with those Hellions. PattyMac. Normally, if you had an adept across the map, the shade moves forward, and you see this factory, we would see a response similar to what we saw out of Disc in the previous game, where you set up at least 2 gateways or 2 big buildings at the front and give you an opportunity to wall off. But as a result of no scout, no adept, we may just see these Hellions run right on by against an opponent that's not really prepared.
Oh, man, you'd hate to see a game 2 end like that. Yeah, if these Hellions can pop on in and do the damage like that, it's going to be real rough. I believe they spotted that Stalker here, but the Stalker from PattyMac still on patrol. And this comes down to personal preference a lot, but I find that when pro players, if they have a Stalker on patrol and they see the Hellions come in, usually they're very quick to pull that Stalker off patrol and try and at least target down where those Hellions escaped to, because the Stalkers do have, they're pretty zippy. They're not as fast as Hellions, but they're not too bad at it. So I'm not sure if PattyMac actually has seen this yet, and with the fact that his other units are moving up to the north side, okay, they're coming back now. 2 Stalkers, still not enough, though. This could be some real damage here, Steadfast.
Yeah, I think this is going to be some tremendous damage right now.
Pros
are getting... he missed target fired, but he's still going to find a lot of damage here, already picking off 5 probes, and the damage is going to continue a little bit here. But that could have been so much worse for PattyMac.
Oh, could have been so much worse indeed. I'll never understand why Protoss players pull those probes off to fight against the Hellions. If you've got one super low health Hellion, you can pick it off, and I think that's what PattyMac was going for there, trying to grab that Hellion that was deep in the red and then get those probes the heck out of there. But he really just stayed with it and kept pushing, which is where he lost that first, 5 probes in the very first 2 shots from those Hellions. And the pressure's not done yet. Epic realizes, hey, good, I've put PattyMac on the back foot here. I've killed off a fair few probes, and now it's time for this to continue. He's going to have to skip the shield battery. He's going to have to skip the forward pylon to spot this coming in. And with those corners cut, these Widow Mines could do a lot of damage.
Yeah, I really like the decision from PattyMac to cut corners. In addition to what you're mentioning, cutting those shield batteries and whatnot, he also only had 2 probes on each gas for a little bit of time there. Has resaturated it now, but, well, he's going to have to pull those right quick as the Widow Mines drop in, and he's not pulling the probes. Why?
What?
Oh, my God. How?
That's the most fortuitous Widow Mine drop I've ever seen in my life. Only 3 kills with no pull. Oh, man. PattyMac needs to go to Las Vegas right now, Steadfast, and pull the wheel, play some roulette or something. That was unbelievably lucky. That Widow Mine drop could have been game-ending. I mean, how many probes are there in that middle line? 11? That could have been 11, 12 kills, and instead, 3. Wow. No other word for it. That was straight luck, Steadfast. Straight luck.
I have never seen a scenario like that where, like, the Protoss player just literally didn't respond, and it was somehow the right move. Like, that was just, oh my God.
That's Lady
Luck.
disgusting. Gonna be a post on r/allthings Terran later today where they're just gonna be like, this is to expand the explosion radius of Widow Mines. It's unfair. Speaking of unfair, PattyMac. Wow. 2 gates already down. 5 more gates on the way. I imagine he's going to go up to 8 gates probably behind this, so I expect to see 1 more gate coming down. It's not all in because he's got a 3rd base finished up at the 9 o'clock, or the 3 o'clock rather, but this is some good positioning, or pardon me, a good indicator that PattyMac is going to pressure soon.
Yeah, this, it almost does feel all in. He's going up to that 8-gate setup. Okay, there we go. Forge does come down.
Sorry, it's 8. I miscounted. You're right. Already at 8. I was like, why 7? That's so weird. I didn't see the other one finish the 8. Go on, Steadfast. Sorry.
Yeah, no, he is really going to be committing to a lot of aggression right now. He's skipped Blink. His Forge is late. He's not, going up to more gases. He's only on this 2-gas setup right now. And I gotta say, this is going to be pretty tough to get anything done. Oh, look at this. And it's going to be even tougher with Epic setting up a nice little wall right here. Even pulling back a couple of these tanks just to kind of get himself a little bit better defensively set up. Now, no stim is done, so that's a problem.
Oof. Yeah, no stim could be huge. Now, stim's about, 30 seconds away, give or take? So if he can somehow delay this push from PattyMac, he might have a chance to wait until stim hits. But as you said, those tanks moving into a position at the 3rd base to cover a little bit more surface area, a little bit more zone control. But PattyMac setting up on the south side, he could really very well just swing into the natural and not go for the 3rd base at all. Fake Warp Prism in the main, going to draw Epic back. No, it's not. And this push is going to come straight into the 3rd here. The anti-armor missile goes down, but doesn't get a great shot, and tons of charge lots now in Epic's natural expansion.
Yeah, this is really tough. Stim does now finish, as you alluded to.
Oh, those force fields.
Man, nice force fields. Doing a really good job. And the economy, you know what? Just go home. Go home right this second, PattyMac. Absolutely do not stay another instant.
Yeah, I think that's one particularly really nice call here. Zealot's still up in the main, able to do some damage and continue to increase that kill number on the SCVs. They're camping some production facilities now, but the SCVs are gone from the main, so the damage from this drop is going to be mostly negated. A little recall there to save 5 Zealots, 6 Zealots, very nicely done. And that was not how Epic wanted that one to go. What a great timing from PattyMac, hitting just before Stim, hitting just before the siege tanks were in the natural, and finding a really great angle. I can't say how nice those force fields were on that ramp we're looking at now, holding back the entire bio army and allowing the Zealots to get up into the main and slice their way through the natural. Just immaculate play there from PattyMac. What a great attack.
Yeah, that was really, really nice. Now, the only thing he has to be mindful of is, of course, one, a counterattack, but now he's got to be aware of these upgrades. Epic is going to be on 1-1 very shortly here. Actually, I was going to say, could be a scary push coming, but not really, actually. There's not a lot of army supply right here for Epic. He is really focusing on rebuilding that SCV count, trying to win this in a later stage. But that's going to be easier said than done when his opponent's done this much damage to him economically.
Man, no question at all. I mean, 24 SCVs going down in one hit, just terrifying. And of course, the costs for PattyMac were not that enormous. Look at the army supply graph for that push. You can see, in fact, at no point did PattyMac really lose a significant number of units. With his warpins, his army supply was able to stay more or less the same, and he somehow still did incredible economic damage. So, all around, a great attack for PattyMac. But as you said, Epic gonna try to macro his way out of this, still building SCVs 3 at a time, still going for more upgrades. We can see that Armory finishing up quite soon. He'll have 2-2 on the way, and that will give him an upgrade advantage over his opponent. Second Forge coming down for PattyMac now to stay active and stay even on those upgrades. But the Dark Shrine and Warp Prism speed coming from PattyMac, who looks like he realizes that he can win this game straight up, but he can really win this game if he has some sneaky guerrilla tactics going down, something maybe a little unexpected.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are the two units that Terran players, more than anything, have been griping about in the matchup these days, and that is Blink DTs and Disruptors. And PattyMac is like, oh, well, I'll get both. How's that sound?
Por qué no los dos? It's great. It's great. I like the Widow Mines coming out from Epic, which should be a good chance at swinging this. I feel like Widow Mines are very much like disruptors for Terran players, where they require a little bit of finesse, but if you do them right, they can do a massive amount of damage. So we'll see if the Widow Mines from Epic are able to do much, but he is moving into the middle of the map here and posturing as though he wants to get some damage done. I'm honestly a little surprised to see Epic posturing for damage right now. I thought he was going to wait to move in a little bit better, and oh my god, that Disruptor shot just dismantling the Widow Mines. That's going to ruin a lot of the DPS for Epic rather, and PattyMac now moving in with some Zealots. These Zealots are going to have a lot of time to murder as many SCVs as they can. This is looking rough for Epic here.
Yeah, I would say that he needs to end the game pretty much now. Like, this army is not quite it, but he is going to take so much economic damage behind us. Oh, nice dodges on the Disruptor balls. Wow, only one of them kind of connecting even at all. And, well, that is a pretty good job right there from Epic to mitigate those. But even still, army supply is in favor of PattyMac right now, and it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, it's only going to get worse. You're absolutely correct. As the game goes on, things looking worse and worse for Epic. I mean, 55, 57 SCVs. At this point, you got to hope for a base trade or something, but there's no additional cards for Epic. He's got no trump cards in his hand, right? There's nothing that he can play that's particularly special. He's got tank bio, but the Widow Mine count is down to, is that 0 now? 2 Widow Mines, where are they? They're not here. Vikings are not going to be able to do too much. They're forced to land, and PattyMac is doing the right thing, waiting, being cautious, going for a wraparound and trying to get on top of these tanks, and Epic realizes, oh crap, I left my flank unguarded, and that's going to allow PattyMac to jump on top of him here. A decent engagement for Epic, but he's going to take a lot more than a decent engagement to win this one.
Yeah, absolutely, and his units are overstimmed. The Matavex getting taken down, and with the blink forward from PattyMac, this army should be dead, and with it, Epic's chances in this game, and the flank just to put an exclamation point on it right there. This final Marine does go down, and Epic, for some reason he's still in this game, but it is over. He's down 130 supply.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to claim caster, anti-hype, by all means, send it my way, but this game is absolutely over.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. It's still an exciting end to this game, of course. We're going to see Epic get blunked on pretty hard here. Disruptor shots trying to dislodge some of those Widow Mines on the ramp. Obviously, that's the best place for the Widow Mines to go, but it does mean Disruptor Balls are able to focus their fire here on that ramp, and yeah, as the third base goes down, Epic realizes it. GG! And for the first time in North America today, Steadfast, we're finally going to see a Game 3. Woo!
I forgot that those existed. Is it a myth? I thought that, the legends, they're true.
Who knew? Who knew? Surely this isn't the first. Hang on, I'm gonna check. There's no way this. No, there were some 2-1s in. Okay, so far Group A has been all 2-0s, but Group B has had a few 2-1s. Estrella Neeb, PattyMac TLO, Estrella Masa, Epic Azuna. Okay, so North America does have Game 3s. They're just very, very rare. They're like those wild axolotls that live in the cave waterfalls that don't ever leave. You know the ones I'm talking about? I've watched way too much Planet Earth in my day.
Axolotls are so freaking cute.
Right?
They are just the most adorable little creatures you've ever seen.
They're just amazing. I love them so much. I wish I could get one as a pet, but obviously want to keep them in the wild because, that's where they belong. Game 3. Could it be on Death Aura LE? Epic and PattyMac. Steadfast, you know what the good news is?
What's that?
You predicted a 2-1 for Epic. I predicted a 2-1 for PattyMac. That means one of us is going to be right. Yes.
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 And that was such a risky move from us, too. I got to pat ourselves on the back here because, there hadn't been a 2-1 today. So good on us.
We're amazing. We're amazing, Steadfast. And anybody who says anything different is just plain lying. Let's get into game number 3 here. I can't believe I'm saying it. In the North America region. Unbelievable. Steadfast, you want to tell us who our first player is?
Oh, I sure do. We have spawning up in the top left position, the blue Protoss player, catching his opponent off guard with that charge lot play. It is PattyMac.
And his opponent in the bottom right-hand side in the red, our Terran player from Size Storm Gaming. His name is Epic.
And it seemed like it was a little bit of frustration coming out of that last game. Normally, he's pretty calm and collected, but only dropping the single G on that one. Normally, I don't, even mention that, but I think maybe a little bit of frustration.
Oh, no question. That attack, that attack from PattyMac into the natural base of Epic was... Epic saw it coming, right? He repositioned his tanks. It felt to me like he did pretty much everything right. And PattyMac still found a nice opening, was able to force field out his Marines and Marauders that, again, were in more or less the right place, just down at the third base instead of at the natural. But, you can't expect that rotation from PattyMac. His tanks were well spread. He pulled his SCVs fairly quickly, and PattyMac still just found so much damage. So I don't know these players well enough to know if they're emotional players or if that's going to get in their head at all. So I don't want to presume what's going on with these guys. But yeah, Epic could see how he could be a little frustrated about that main engagement in the previous game.
Yeah, normally my understanding is he's a pretty calm and collected player, but maybe just suffering that loss against an opponent that he potentially could feel like he's a little bit favored against.
Yeah,
maybe that gets under his skin. Who knows? He hasn't played in a ton of tournaments.
Right. And there's something to be said for this. This is a huge tournament, man. Tens of thousands of dollars on the line. It really shouldn't affect these players' focus. They've all been in big tournaments before, even though, the number of big tournaments changes. But shouldn't affect their focus, but who are we to say that it's not? Now, Steadfast, one of my favorite theories in gaming is Richard Bartle's taxonomy of player types, which says that players play video games for 4 major different reasons. Do you see yourself as a player who is a competitive type of player? Is that where you really derive your excitement, is by beating other people?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It is. I am an extremely competitive individual. It's the kind of thing where I have to, be careful about it type of thing,
Oh, definitely. And that's, I think, the main player profile that we see. 100% amongst pro players, almost all of them are hyper competitive, and that's really where they derive their joy. in the game, which is, I always find it fascinating because I am the least, like, for a person who professionally commentates a competitive video game, I am the least competitive human, like, in the world. There's a reason I don't enjoy playing StarCraft much, because I find no joy in beating other people. I'm like, nah, that's not really for me. So I'm always hesitant when we're talking about players' mindsets and everything. I'm like, I gotta refer to somebody who knows a lot more about how this brain works, because I am not the guy who cares at all about if I win or lose. I just want everybody to have fun, you know? That's what we're all here for, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So yeah.
Somebody else is like, I'm like that guy in your fantasy football league that doesn't change any players out and somehow still wins the whole thing, and you're just like, no, come on, Sharon.
That's not supposed to happen.
Come on, Sharon from accounting. How did you? This is terrible. Jeez.
Oh, I'm just excited to be a part of the group. You know, I'm just. You young whippersnappers. I don't know. Sharon got really old, right?
Yeah, that was very old. She's definitely a retiree. Fun fact, when I was a kid, my dad played a fantasy football league, and the season that he won, he chose his first players based on how wacky their names were. Like, if he couldn't tell between 4 or 5 players who he should pick, he just picked the one with the weirdest name, and he ended up going gangbusters that year. He just did so well. I know. I was like, oh, man, I'm a little embarrassed. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, anytime someone tries to predict something like that, I feel like that's destined to happen. Like trying to game the stock market, for example.
Oh yeah, I think I remember the experiment with a chimp that threw darts at the stock pages and ended up doing better than like 70% of stockbrokers or something. Good observer placement there from PattyMac, by the way. He's got 2 out on the map already. He's got 1 on the map already, actually. But he's going to see that drop coming into his main base, so he should be able to respond to this Widowmine drop fairly well. Yeah, Stalker's in position. That'll get driven away, and Epic going to invest quite a bit in that first Widowmine drop, only to get driven away. Good defense by PattyMac, who's going charge first. Oh, I love to see a good charge opener. We said at the beginning of this series, charge is one of the most rare opening, or the second most rare opening. Normally, if you see a Twilight Council down first, the Protoss player is going to go Blink against Terran just because it's so versatile. But charge. Steadfast, does that indicate early aggression out of PattyMac here, despite being on 3 bases?
That absolutely telegraphs to me that is what we're probably going to see out of. Oh my God. Well, if I wasn't sure before, with 2 more gateways coming down and still no gases at the natural, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's going to be the case. Huge. Epic with a nice scan.
Yeah, well, huge denial there. I was going to say his Reaper got picked off there, and that's exactly what he was looking for, is how many gases are there at this natural? I need to know right now. And denying the Reaper forced that scan immediately out of Epic, who, yeah, moves back to his natural right now, going to move that 3rd base back to his main base, retreats immediately, and sees that there's real danger, Steadfast.
All right, what I would love to see, and we're seeing it. I would love to see, he goes back into probe production and gets gases, just go straight up to 6 gas, get a double forge, go up into a Templar Archives. You know that Epic is going to be, I mean, I'm okay with this move. I'm okay with like a light move out, but as soon as he sees that the 3rd base is not landed, just go back home, heavy tech, and just chill. Just be confident in the mental damage he's inflicted on his opponent.
Your Tinder profile must be great, Steadfast. Heavy mech and chill, or heavy tech and chill. I love it. I love it. Yeah, there it is. Gases 5 and 6. Yeah, and a great call there from PattyMac. You know, we talked about this previously when we were casting EU in our Lambo game, where we said there are so many different ways to win a StarCraft game, right? Epic micro or phenomenal macro like we saw in the future games. Those timings that are just so beautiful. And this is another way that we can win. These are the way that Lambo won his games, which is just get inside your opponent's head, trick them into thinking you're doing something, counter them beautifully, and holy crap, do a massive warping into the main. That's a lot of zealots in the main. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, it really is. And once again, PattyMac very far ahead in supply. Ooh. Now, these zealots are going to get picked off. They're not going to get as much damage done as they did in the previous game. I was going to say, I was like, oh man, there's no way he actually killed that command center, did he? But no, it just lifted off. 7 SEVs, not bad, but PattyMac has forced the base to lift off once again. He is now up fully, I was just going to say fully saturated on those 6 gases, but of course he has to make me a liar. You know how it is.
Yeah, he'll get there. Don't worry.
There we go.
Still a good call. There you go.
And look at this. Some of the leftover charge lots. He's saving them up for another run by here. I love this from PattyMac.
Yeah, so smart. When you're this far ahead, you can afford to be... like when the game is close, I feel like StarCraft players have to make difficult decisions. Do I want to be aggressive, or do I want to stay back and defend? I don't have the resources to really do both. But PattyMac right now is really wisely assessing his situation and saying, you know what, that run by didn't get as much economic damage done as I thought, but I think I'm still in a really strong position. I can still have a run by setup while defending back at home, and that's going to really double my advantage. So a really good read by PattyMac and spreading that risk reward around just a little bit more. And as we see, as soon as this Stalker spots the move out, look what's happening down to the south of the map. Those Zealots buzzing straight in. The wall is down, and just like a Zergling run by, PattyMac is going to get some real damage done here. There's nothing back home to defend against this. Oh dear.
No, there's not. I think he's even going to break through this supply depot wall. Meanwhile, looks like a disruptor shot did.
Nice.
Didn't get too much done, but that next one gets a Widow Mine and a Marauder, always nice. And time is so much on PattyMac's side. He is actually looking very poised. I would say to come at Epic with a pretty decent upset right now.
Yeah, again, a little surprising. I think these players, as we said at the very beginning, very well matched. Going to be a tight game. But yeah, I think Epic maybe a moderate favorite in this best of 3. So PattyMac setting himself up for a great position. Now, I will say steadfast, I don't think the game's quite over yet. Epic still has a couple ways he could come back. Oh man, as I say that though, the SCV count continues to fall and things get worse and worse. I still think he's got a chance, just a chance. But you have to get some really good damage done, and I'm not sure that retreating is the right option here.
I don't think it is either. I think he needs to get on the map, but once again, he's in a situation where he is down army supply and down workers. Now, this time he is going to get up to 2-2, and that can be a pretty big power spike, especially against an opponent who only has +1 attack. Man, PattyMac's, I don't like the concept of him being out here with his full army. I think that's needlessly risky.
I thought you just said needlessly risky, and I was like, was that an NA StarCraft Protoss player pun? Pretty good. The good news for PattyMac is, though, he's got enough disruptors now that he can afford... Oh, my God, the splitting there at the last second. He's got enough disruptors, though, that he can afford to do that. If you saw what he was doing, he was sending out Disruptor Ball, waiting for the Purification Nova to end, sending out another Disruptor Ball. He's got enough now that he can zone out and doesn't have to do damage, pardon me, with every single disruptor. But Epic is realizing, yeah, the longer this game goes on, the worse his chances are getting. He's going to go for a massive Doom drop, but that is the most beautiful observer placement I've ever seen. Should see either a recall or just a quick blink to get in position here. The drop of the 4th base, massive warp in, no target fire on the pylon, and PattyMac should be able to hold this.
Yeah, this is very well dealt with from PattyMac, and it all comes down to, as you said, that beautiful observer placement. I don't know about... oh, wow, no, I definitely don't agree with that blink forward now. Beautiful target fire on those disruptors, and PattyMac, oh man, he just let this game slip out of his fingers a little bit.
Yeah,
it's not over, but that was a big swing.
Yeah, which is really surprising. What we saw happen were a couple different things. PattyMac tried to warp in some Stalkers. The Stalkers got target fired down, which I didn't agree with at the time. I was like, Epic, just get the pylon, prevent the warp in. But he killed off every single Stalker warping in one by one, so that he actually lost the money from them rather than just canceling the warp in. And then the army hit a little bit later, and again, the stim, the kite backwards there. Even though a couple medevacs got picked off and the army did get thinned down a bit, there are so many Marauders here. It's such a beefy army that PattyMac really wasn't able to get too much damage done here, and we do see the army supply shifting now in favor of our Terran player, and quite strongly, actually. 20 army supply ahead. His 2-2 is really paying off for him now. +2 is going to finish, and PattyMac should be able to defend, but he also lost 4 disruptors. That's huge.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason why PattyMac took that fight... Oh, no! Disruptor shot is going to get a huge one, and another one coming in will clip both tanks, and now that allows another Disruptor shot to come in. That was so much damage! The Purification Nova's getting so much done. DT's in the natural. Wow, they are getting body blocked out. Scan?
There it is.
Scan? Okay.
DT Blink is not finished up, so those DTs all will die to the scan here. Good responses from Epic, but that will draw Epic back home. Very smart from Epic to disengage here. I think he's got a much better shot. That said, PattyMac has now defended, and the second defense really paid off for PattyMac. He's going to find himself in a strong position yet again in this game. Don't let the army supplies in the orange at the bottom of the ribbon fool you. It says it's fairly even, but look at the army value in the top side. Huge gas advantage and a moderate mineral advantage for the army of PattyMac. And with DT Blink almost finished up, extended thermal lance on the way, and +2 coming out for his shields, PattyMac's going to find himself in a pretty decent spot.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't seen Epic go for 3-3 just yet. He has, of course, been spending all of his resources really keeping that macro tight. But he did decide to go up to a 4th base. He did decide to, continue advancing his economic position towards the late game. So it does surprise me that not only has he not gotten 3-3, he hasn't gotten any armory upgrades.
Yeah.
No vehicle weapons, no ship weapons, nothing.
Yeah, especially with the tanks that he clearly wants to keep in his army. He's on 2
God.
tanks now. How many kills does that Widowmine have?
He has 4 kills.
Yeah, it's a lot of Zealots that have come by here and try. I saw one of them get sniped earlier, but I think it's a lot of Zealots that have come by here. He knows that Widowmine's there. He's just got to get the freaking Observer out here. Oh my God, he's not even gonna get the. He's not even gonna. Okay, he's gonna wait for it to shoot out. Finally go for the Photon Cannon and get that. Oh, he's gonna try and get the Nexus down, but can't. That's such a cute play. More scans being forced out though. Every scan, of course, is something Epic can't really afford. He's so far behind economically this game. And PattyMac's been in control for the last 10 minutes or so. But finally, Epic establishing a bit of a beachhead here at the 4th base. He will pick off the 4th base of PattyMac, and he's got a 4th of his own. That planetary is finished up at the 6 o'clock. So I think we're in pretty good shape here, but these disruptor shots gonna be massive. Again, a nice swingy game changer for PattyMac there.
Yeah, that was a really big disruptor shot. Another Liberator will set up here. Oh, disruptor shot doesn't really hit much. It looks like he tried to just blink forward to take out that Liberator, but didn't even target fire it down. And all of a sudden, things are looking kind of frightening here for PattyMac. Oh, but some nice disruptor shots coming in.
Man, you lose focus for 1 second here. Epic's going to eat a lot of disruptor shots. The Liberator finally goes down, and that means zone control of that ramp is now solely in favor of the tanks, but the disruptor shots can outrange those tanks. So while the scans are going to have to be constant from Epic, PattyMac will get damage done consistently, and here we go, another big fight. Disruptor balls melting the Bio Army here, and look at the Army tab, the unit tab, for Epic right now. So much of his army is tied up in these 9 medevacs. He has more medevacs than he has, I was going to say Marines, but he just has 10 Marines here. So that army supply, very deceptive right now. A lot of that tied up in medevacs, and those are, I don't know if you know this, Steadfast, medevacs don't do a whole lot of damage in the fight.
Generally speaking, no, they don't. But it is interesting to see the 9-9-10 build make its way into the pro scene here.
Ah, nice. Very nice.
Yeah, that's a ton of medevacs.
Jeez.
And man, it really feels like this game has tilted back and forth in favor of either player so drastically over the last maybe 5 minutes. I would say each player has been in a winning position probably 2, maybe 3 separate times during that phase. Oh my God, holy purification.
Yeah, that's a lot of great splits, though, from Epic. They're able to dodge all those. That just means the timers reset a little bit. These Liberators able to re-siege here. Even a Colossus going down. I do want to point out really quickly, though, Colossi are out, and look at the Viking count for Epic. What's it at? 0. Not a single Viking on the field right now, relying solely on that Bio Army and tanks to take down the Colossus. And if the Colossus production continues for PattyMac, keeping 2 or 3 on the map, those Colossi will eventually trade effectively. Liberators are kind of flash in the pan units. They have to siege up. They often get picked off pretty easily, but those Colossi are going to be here until Kingdom Come.
Really nice disruptor shots right there, picking off 2 tanks. And you mentioned the Colossi. With Liberators, they're all right. Like you said, they're not bad if they're sieged up. Tanks are the only other answer that, Epic has at the moment. And losing 2 of his 3 tanks right there, I don't think he can hold this position, and I don't think he should try, but now he's going to be in a position where he has to. Disruptor balls will come out. They actually don't connect very well. Ooh, last one, though, does get a couple of units.
Yeah, but again, look at the army supply in favor of PattyMac now considerably. The army value in favor of PattyMac considerably. And as you pointed out, most importantly, look at that unit tab. 2 tanks against 2 Colossi. There are DTs on the map. I'm sure they're doing some damage somewhere. Archon's pushing forward, and PattyMac, I think the underdog slightly in this engagement, is actually going to push forward. He's such a good Protoss player, and I'm really excited. If he's able to take this win, he is definitely going to deserve it. Such a nice, great player who does so many online events. I can't wait to see him pull this one away.
Yeah, this is a really scrappy game between these two, but it looks like, as you said, PattyMac has finally kind of broken through here. Oh, Purification Nova getting like 10 SCVs, and another one zoning this out. We will see the command center survive for the moment. Nice little flank coming in, but it's just not a lot of stuff.
Not a lot of stuff, I think, is how you could summarize this entire last game. The aggressive blink forward onto the tanks there. The last medevac goes down, and now Epic stuck on 4 bases. Can't do it. PattyMac